Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Exodus Media Network. Coming to you live a little late tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the enemy within. That's one of the things that I'm going to speak on. But if you look up top, you'll see the title is Information is the New Currency. Now, recently, I've been hearing that stated more and more often, that information is the new currency. In particular, I heard that statement at the while watching video at the World Economic Forum, and there are some of their meetings and their proceedings, which you all know, as I've uh, said many times before, that is one of the dystopian entities that is pulling the strings and controlling a lot of what we see here in America through their American arm, or that entity in America that helps to fulfill the wishes of the World Economic Forum, which would be the American Democrat Party. So, with that being said, well, let me also say this. Back in the 90s, I came up with the concept and the idea that information was the new currency. And I wrote a lot about it and described it in great detail. And one thing I called it was Information Society 2000. When I wrote this back in the 90s, talking about information being the new currency. And ladies and gentlemen, information is absolutely the new currency, because all physical currency, meaning the dollar, is grown out of information. Without consequential information, you cannot make money in this country. Now, the enemy within, let me get back to that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are importing the enemy. And I was sitting here and I was just thinking, I was looking at the squad and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and all of these un-American individuals that currently reside in our U.S. Congress. And there's others. There's a list of about 9 of them. And, and 3 of those individuals, I would call them imports. We have imported them because 2 of them were not born in the United States. And one of them is first generation because her parents sought asylum here. And likewise, Ilhan Omar, she herself sought asylum here in the United States by way of Somalia. And the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, when we allow these people to claim asylum, when we are eager to extend asylum, when we are eager to say we are a nation of immigrants, which is in 2023 is a silly idea. And I explained why there's no longer any need to bring in people. We have more than enough, and we're certainly capable of sustaining ourselves without bringing in these inferior cultures and these inferior states of mind that these people bring here. And what I'm seeing consistently from the enemy within, which that enemy, as I said, are these people that we are importing, allowing here. They are consistently coming from failed states and wanting to bring their ideas from their failed states here into the United States of America, our Judeo-Christian capitalist constitutional republic. And we, in the name of wokeism, we seem to be eager. We seem to be eager towards allowing people in. And we say, and it's something that, you mostly hear this in the white community, because they gravitate to this term because they're running from another term. They gravitate to that term of we're a nation of immigrants simply because they are running from another term. And what do I mean? They're running from wokeism. They're running from being called a racist. And because they're running from that, because they don't want to be subjected to wokeism, and because they don't want to be labeled a racist, they run to that term, that phrase, we are a nation of immigrants, as if to suggest and to virtue signal to everyone that we're not racist. You see, we're perfectly fine with immigrants. We just want them to come legally. and you, if you know anything by now, you know that I'm not just against illegals. I'm also against people immigrating here legally at this point. We have no need. We have no need for immigrants. And there are times within our, you see no amnesty back there. There's times within our American history where we rounded up uh, hundreds of thousands, if not a million or more people, and sent them back to where they needed to go once they were actually here inside of the interior of the United States. And a lot of people, you know, you're unaware of that because they intentionally omit that from your history and your government studies in your public schools. But I repeat, there are times in recent American history, but certainly prior to my generation, but during my father's generation, when they rounded up many, many, many people that were here illegally, and they escorted them out of our country. And the reason why I make that point clear is because we need to clean up our country. We need to clean up our act. We need to clean up our country from these illegal invaders, these people that are coming from inferior states with inferior cultures, bringing their inferior ideas and imposing them upon us. And when we reject those inferior ideas, they want to say that we're racist or xenophobes. You know, that's almost like kids on the playground. Oh, you don't agree with me? Then you're racist. Oh, you don't agree with me? Then you're a xenophobe. No, ladies and gentlemen, you all have to stand tall, and you have to certainly think outside the box and understand that we have a lot to protect here in the United States of America, and we cannot protect it. And we're going to become increasingly more vulnerable the more we have this frame of mind that says, we're a nation of immigrants. I don't mind you coming, provided you come legally. No. Why would I do not want to import legals from inferior cultures, inferior societies, inferior states, inferior forms of government. I don't want to import them legally any more than I want to allow illegals in. Ladies and gentlemen, most of you, and I'm sorry, and most of our politicians have not thought this thing out. And now I'm going to give you some very brief anecdotal evidence, but there's so much of it. But I'm just going to give you this, and let me submit this to you. Ileana Omar, she is a product of Somalia. Somalia is another shithole country. Somalia is a country that is Sunni Islam, and Sunni Islam has no intention of and cannot jive with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and our Judeo-Christian culture and capitalist culture. But so my question is, why would we import people like this, even when they're claiming to be asylum seekers? And have you ever thought about this? You look at the Somalians that began to come here in the early 1990s, they began to seek refuge here, and very, very ignorantly and very stupidly, we allowed them to come here. We allowed them to bypass many countries, dozens of countries to come here. It was not necessary for Somalians to begin to migrate here in the 1990s, seeking asylum, coming as refugees. There were other countries in Africa that could have housed them on their own continent, near their own indigenous people, so that hopefully one day they could return and restore, if it ever was legitimate, but their country. No. It's a scam. When these people come seeking asylum and they go past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one or two, excuse me, 1 or 2 dozen countries to come here, that's not an asylum seeker. That's somebody that is an American seeker. They want to come here because they have determined that this is the best place on the planet Earth, and they want to come here. And absolutely, under no circumstance should we allow that. If you are an asylum seeker, you need to go to the nearest state other than the country that you live in. Period, end of story. But Americans, we're so, I'm not even going to call us sympathetic, because the left are they want to allow this because they have an agenda. And that agenda is not that they're sympathetic towards these individuals. That agenda, as I stated in the previous broadcast, is part of Cloward Piven. They want to allow all of these inferior frames of mind and inferior cultures in so that they can destabilize our current American culture and our current American system. They want to destabilize Americanism because they hate it. Who am I talking about when I say they hate it? Well, I'm talking about all these liberal leftist politicians who identify as Marxists, communists, socialists, liberals, and progressives. And they fall under the umbrella of Luciferians. They're all Luciferians. The umbrella is Luciferian and Luciferianism, and the people that fall up under that describe themselves as communist, socialist, Marxists, liberals, progressives, etc. I'm sorry you have to excuse me, but I'm having trouble with my chair and my sinuses. So, listen, Mayorkas, current head of the Department of Homeland Security, he, along with Biden and Harris, who is the border czar, they have allowed this invasion of 10 million individuals across our southern border in record time, 3 years. We've never seen an invasion of this magnitude. Never. So let me say this about Mayorkas. Now, there's things that we can point out that shows that he is complicit, that she is complicit, and that Biden is complicit. When I say she, talking about Kamala Harris, but they disguise it, and many of us just fail to see it because we're so detached from what's going on, and we'd rather be consumed with our lives and not have to deal with the stress that would be brought about if we really knew what was going on. And my point is this: Mayorkas, he expanded TPS, and TPS is a temporary protection status. He expanded that for Somalians. And ladies and gentlemen, Somalians and their TPS status has been expanded until September the 17th, 2024, Constitution Day. Now think about the irony of that. And furthermore, that's my birthday, September the 17th. But here's the irony of Mayorkas, who is responsible for protecting our borders. The irony in him expanding this to September 17th, 2024, giving them this protected status, thereby allowing them to come and remain. That's Constitution Day. And everything that these people on the left are doing is in an effort to destroy the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights and our American system. You see, this stuff is by design. This is not by accident. This is by design. And I think that is just their way of kind of poking the bear when you not just simply expand their temporary protected status, but then you make you push that end date forward and you make it Constitution Day, when the very things that you're doing at our southern border, allowing 10 million people in, is in spite of the fact that our Constitution and our government does not permit such activity. Ladies and gentlemen, this is disgusting, to say the least. And we sit back and we allow this. And the reason why people like Mayorkas and Biden and Harris and many others within our government Susan Rice, and she's no longer within the government, but she's pulling Biden strings to some degree by direction of Obama. The reason they can function with impunity is because the rank and file individual citizen refuses to have a voice, refuses to get out and engage and interact and help to blow the lid off of all that is going on, and because you refuse to disseminate consequential information. And if you watched me before, you know that's my term, consequential information, because life is based on consequential information. But if you don't disseminate consequential information rapidly and widely, we are going to continue to lose our country. Now, here's my point. Due to technological advancements and your ability to have privacy in your home, on your laptop, on your tablets, and on your phone, and etc., it has been made easy and convenient for the average citizen to have an impact. because you can do what I have been stressing for you all to do for so long. That is to watch the videos, hit the follow and the subscribe button. Follow if you're on Rumble, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and then make it a link. You know how to take a video, tap on there, make it a link, and then disseminate that link to your friends and families via email, text, social media, etc. If you people can't even disseminate consequential information that will potentially conjure up enough fear in people so that they will then begin to feel compelled to react and react appropriately and help us to disseminate this consequential information, we're not going to save this place. You see, when I talk about the dystopianism and the dystopian things that are happening, it's for one simple reason. I do want to cause you to feel fear. I have to find a way to make you feel fear to the degree that you will react, because it is a known fact that humans react more rapidly to fear than they do pleasure. And you certainly know I'm not here to pleasure you. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm certainly here to convict you, and hopefully I can evoke enough fear in you so that you will be convicted to do something other than sitting on your ass. I may be the only person that comes on here and talks to you like that, but that's okay. That's okay, because some of you will begin to have enough intestinal fortitude to be able to deal with this and not see it as something, not be so sensitive towards this, because I'm not going to change. Because if I change, then that would be doing the wrong thing and going in the wrong direction. I'm trying to bring you somewhere. I'm trying to bring you in the right direction, and I can't do it if I'm going to sugarcoat things and talk to you in a way that you find a little less confrontational, or maybe a little less offensive. I don't know. I mean, today you people are something else. You can't say anything to anybody without them getting butthurt, but everybody is so eager to say something to someone else that may make them feel uncomfortable. I don't get this new generation. I don't understand. And unfortunately, my generation is beginning to adopt some of the ways and the habits of the last two generations. I'll exclude Generation Alpha. That is the absolute last generation, and that generation ends in 2025. As far as we'll have to name a new generation. But as far as the millennials and the Generation Zers, unfortunately, my generation, Generation X, instead of influencing millennials and Generation Zers, we're adopting their ways, their habits. They're influencing us more than we're influencing them, and this is insane. And the reason why that happens, now listen, the reason why that happens is because you, Generation Xers, my generation, you're the generation that decided you wanted to be your kid's friend. You can't be your kid's friend. You have to be that kid's mom, dad, parent, absolute ruler, authoritarian, dictator, any of the above. But you cannot be their friends. But that's the reason why they're influencing you, and that's the reason why our generation is adopting their ways, and they're influencing us because we want to be their friends. You got to stop that shit. That is just so ridiculous. And that foolishness has to stop. We cannot continue to be the friend to Generation Z and the millennials. We cannot do that, because that causes this destabilization that we currently see, and that's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'll get back to that. Um, listen. Let me. I talked about how Ilhan Omar, Somalian, by way of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minnesota, you're horrible. Minneapolis, you're horrible. Keith Ellison, he's also a Muslim. He was in Congress, a representative out of Minnesota, and now he's their attorney general. this Islamic and radical Islamic influence that has taken over in Minnesota, in particular the Minneapolis area, is insane. And let me tell you, it is no stretch to say that Keith Ellison is a radical Islamist. If you simply listen to him and you read what he has said and you go and watch what he has said, and likewise Ilhan Omar, it's evident. And the fact that those radical Islamic roots run deep, that's quite evident because of all the Somalians and the fact that they continue to vote for these radical people as their leaders. So don't try to call it anything other than what it is. And, we can kid ourselves and we can talk about, oh, we embrace other people and other cultures and this and that. Listen, at some point in time, it should be evident to you that the embracing of all these other people and cultures and religions and stuff is not jiving, it's not working. And you see the evidence of it because you see the deterioration that's happening to our American society. So if you see this happening and you continue on making these silly statements about, we don't mind if you come, just come legally, or if you continue on making these silly statements about we're a country of immigrants, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to continue to contribute to and be complicit in all of this dystopian destruction that's happening in our country and allowing these people to come here and reside here and become the enemy within. These people did not come to assimilate. And the proof is they're bringing all of these things from their country, and they're trying to convince us that these ideas are the types of ideas that would work well here in America, as if we didn't get to where we got to prior to them coming and without their assistance. Has it ever dawned on you? Look at their countries. Look at the state of their countries. I am having all types of issues, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to fight through this. So we have got to stop this whole erroneous crap of embracing these people. Oh, we should give them asylum and we should clear a pathway to citizenship. I'll be down. Why clear a pathway for citizenship for people that came from somewhere where they currently had citizenship and they were indigenous to that area? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. And let's not talk about civil wars going on in places and so on and so forth. We had a civil war here, and we didn't run from it to some other country seeking asylum. We understood that we had to stand and we had to fight in order to save this country and to make it a better place than what it was prior to and during the civil war that we had. And I would say that we have done that quite successfully, but now we're starting to, well, we've fallen over the cliff and we're trying to pick the pieces up. So please, let's stop with this whole pro-immigration thing. And once I told you, I'm not an isolationist, I'm a preservationist. Two different things. So I don't want to hear that you're an isolationist. No, I'm a preservationist, and I suggest that you become one too. Now, I saw recently where Taylor Swift has been leading these voter registration drives. Taylor Swift has been leading these voter registration drives. Let me talk about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has unfortunately had an enormous impact in America, and for lack of a better way of putting it, on the American culture. But her real influence has been with Suburban White Housewives and their daughters. That's her real impact. That's her real influence. And unfortunately, that is a large number. that's a large group. And here's what's happening. Who do you think she's registering? Who do you think these people out here registering? Well, if Taylor Swift is pro-abortion and Taylor Swift saw fit to lead this nationwide voter registration drive, then common sense would tell you that her intent is to register as many pro-abortion individuals as possible. Okay? So also, who's funding the Taylor Swift machine that is pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQ, and simply anti-American? To be quite honest, who's funding it? Well, it's you suburban white housewives and your daughters. You're buying all the tickets. You're buying all the merchandise. You're allowing Taylor Swift to be relevant because you fund the Taylor Swift machine. You've never heard that anywhere on any podcast, any broadcast. You've never heard that come out of anybody's mouth because, once again, I'm all about consequential information, and I peel back the layers. I don't just peel back the layers, via researching. And most people, when they're doing research, they just go one layer deep. I go multiple layers deep doing exhaustive research, but not just that. God gave me this. So sometimes it's just me sitting quietly and thinking. And each subsequent thought goes down another level and another layer and another level and another layer, because you would be shocked if you actually took time to stop and think and use that magnificent mind that God gave you, and just to see what you can come up with. And that's why I'm sitting here telling you today that Taylor Swift is a danger to the United States of America, because Taylor Swift has mobilized this suburban white housewife army, and this army consists of these suburban white housewives and their daughters, and these are very irreligious people. They hate the idea of children being born alive. They hate the idea of marriage as God created it. They think that America is a bad place, and they think that America owes this debt to minorities and in America and others around the globe. Nothing could be further from the truth. That's a lie. They don't see America as a Judeo-Christian capitalist constitutional republic. They do not even like capitalism, even though they are actually practicing hyper-capitalism when they want to run out here and fuel this Taylor Swift machine by buying all of her merchandise and her tickets. You see, the left is very well organized. I don't think I've ever seen the right come out and support an individual to the degree that the left is supporting Taylor Swift, an individual that was right-minded, conservative-minded, Judeo-Christian minded. I don't think I've ever seen that. And it's a problem. See, you all thought that Taylor Swift was just this little pop bubblegum singer and like a fad. No. She has mobilized a liberal, irreligious, anti-God, anti-Judeo-Christian, anti-American army of suburban white housewives and their daughters. And they're out here registering millions of people to vote. And that's the reason why. And people like Craig and Buck, and I mention them because they're always, and Craig and Buck are the two gentlemen, two individuals that filled in for, that took over for Rush, God rest his soul, after he died. Let me tell you, they have totally capitulated. They've capitulated to the LGBTQs. They've capitulated to the pro-abortionists and the first trimester. And they've capitulated to the suburban white housewives, and they've capitulated to the independents, because they're gutless and they have no fight in them. And all they're concerned with is how we can win. And then they say, but we're going to lose if you all want to focus on the first trimester. We're going to lose if you all don't embrace the LGBTQs. And here's what's so amazing about that. We lose more so when we embrace those things, even if we fail, even if we succeed at being elected to a political office. And here's my point. When Republicans win, they don't accomplish anything anyway. When Republicans win, they don't beat back the gains of the left anyway. When Republicans win, they don't grab the microphone and talk aggressively about and to and towards the left. When Republicans win, they don't look to reestablish capitalism and Judeo-Christian values and things of that nature. When Republicans win, they don't look to go to these liberal institutions and weed out these liberal, radical leftist, irreligious professors. When Republicans win, they don't look to just seal up and stop all of the invasion that's coming over the border. When Republicans win, they don't look to have the cartel designated as terrorist groups. When Republicans win, they don't look to move all of our corporations out of China so that we can stop fueling and funding the beast and helping China to grow stronger and stronger and helping China to get closer and closer to their goal of total annihilation and usurpation of America. Ladies and gentlemen, this what we have going on in America today is a political scam. I call it a political Ponzi scheme. If you go back in some of my other broadcasts, and that's another term that I created, political Ponzi scheme, you will see, and I go into some detail about the political Ponzi scheme. This is all part of the political Ponzi scheme. The guys with an R next to their name and the American flag right here, they love to stand up and pontificate, but once they get elected, they talk so wonderfully about what they're going to do. But once they get elected, they don't do nothing. They don't become any more aggressive. They don't stand up and say things that are uncomfortable and to say because they don't want to be targeted. They don't want to be targeted by the left. So it's just a good. Republicans are under the impression that all they need to do is win. And once they win, that fixes everything, even though they actually fix nothing. This is insane. This is insane. Consequential information. You know what? I got to say this again. I can't say it enough. Some things have to be said, if possible, in every broadcast. The summer of 2000, the summer of 2020, that was the summer of the riots, 574 riots in 574 American cities. These riots were violent. These riots were murderous. There were billions and billions of dollars of damage. Those flames were stoked by Maxine Waters, AOC, Pelosi, and Kamala Harris, and they did it on television. There's an abundance of video evidence of them and numerous other radical leftists stoking those flames, encouraging people to go out and riot and to perpetrate violence and destruction and arson. And we saw that all across the nation. Nobody was prosecuted. Then those same individuals turned around and talked about January the 6th and Trump as though he instigated that, when he clearly came out and said peacefully and patriotically protest. And you've seen the video of him saying that here, not the edited version that the liberal leftist news media put out in order to make it look as though he was inflaming the situation and encouraging people to riot. He did nothing like that at all. And here's what bothers me. Of all the representatives and of all the senators in the U.S. Congress with an R next to their name, how many of them have you heard, if any, come out and bang their fist on the table and yell and scream and point their finger and defend Trump and say he absolutely did not do this? They edited that video. Here's the actual video evidence. He said, peacefully and patriotically protest. We will not allow you to mislead the American public as it relates to Trump and January the 6th, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You haven't seen it. And the reason why you haven't seen it, because these people are cowards and these people do not mean what they say. And these people do not have the wherewithal nor the intestinal fortitude to go out and protect the man that has fought on their behalf. They do not have it in them to go out and protect and fight for a man that has that put himself. So Trump put himself between Republicans, conservatives, and America, and these radical leftists that want to fundamentally transform and destroy America as we know it. Because he was a 4-year reprieve. And we did not take advantage of the opportunity to mobilize and fight. We did not take advantage of the opportunity, as you're not taking advantage of the opportunity now, to make links for this and send it to everybody. You want to know why you're not going to do it? Because you're scared. Scared men can't fight. Scared women can't fight. You're so afraid of what somebody is going to say to you or about you. Because in the United States of America, we're so worried about what people will say about us and to us and what people will think about us. And we allow that to cause us to be frozen to the point that we can't even do what we need to do, to the point that we can't even do what makes sense, to the point that we can't even do what's in our best interest because we're so preoccupied and concerned with what somebody else might say or think about us. And that's why you don't disseminate it. This consequential information. That's why you don't do it, because you're paralyzed by fear. And I can't respect that. But what I am going to do is this. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to say what's not popular. I'm going to say the difficult things. I have a list here of current, and I'm sure this list is larger, but these are people that have or do have at some point in time or do currently openly identify as being democratic socialists and part of the Democratic Socialists of America, and they reside within our Congress. That would be one, Bernie Sanders from Vermont. That would be Danny Davis from Illinois, Chicago area, obviously makes sense. AOC from New York, obviously makes sense. Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, and they have that large Muslim presence up there, and she's of Palestinian descent. Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, Minneapolis, by way of Somalia. Now listen, that's those these. We want you to come in illegally, or we want you to come because we've extended asylum to you. So all you old monkeys running around here, you conservative monkeys, you Republican monkeys, you old ignorant ass people, and I don't hate to call you that. I'm going to identify you properly because you're not a real conservative to me when you run around here talking about, we want you to come seeking asylum. Listen, real conservatives, we don't want you come seeking asylum. We don't want you immigrating here, none of that. Because using that thought process, that's what got Ilhan Omar here. And look at what she's done. That's what got Rashida Tlaib's parents here, and they gave birth to her here. And look at her, and how disgusting she is, and how un-American she is, along with Ilhan Omar. Y'all didn't think this thing out. You think just because you stand up and say, oh, we're a nation of immigrants, let's bring the asylum seekers here. Oh, we don't mind you coming, provided you come legally. Well, look where it has gotten us. That's why we have a Rashida Tlaib thinking like that, being advocates for that. That's why we have Ilhan Omar and others. because y'all want to be so careless and y'all want to leave the damn door open and let these people walk in the country. And now that whole idea is on steroids because many of you monkeys, and you know who you are, you went out there and you voted for Joseph Robinette Biden. And we told you what he was going to do. We told you what he was going to do. So you also have Jamal Bowman. He's part of this Democrat Socialists of America. Greg Cesar, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's from Texas, obviously the Austin area. Listen, Austin, Texas used to be a nice, wholesome area, a very American area, very much a hot dog and apple pie and baseball area. Now Austin is a liberal shithole. Austin has been flooded by liberals and overran by liberals. It's a liberal shithole. And that's the reason why you elected Greg Cesar, who's a Democrat socialist. And then Summer Lee, she's from Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh area, Black female. And likewise, she's a Democrat socialist. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we have these people residing within our Congress. And these people are not pro-American. I don't care if they let it come out of their mouths that they are pro-American. They're lying. And if you allow them to say that they're pro-American and you can't call them out for being a liar because you don't know no better, then shame on you. Don't tell me what you are because I'm watching you. I see these people. I listen to their words. They're very un-American. They don't respect the Constitution. They don't respect the Bill of Rights. And they are the enemy within. They are the enemy within, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, I recently was allowed back on YouTube, and hell, they'll probably kick me off again here soon. So I'm going to talk about them for a minute. YouTube claims to have standards. And because YouTube claims to have standards, I was kicked off of YouTube at one point in time. So obviously their standards don't subscribe to what I say because I talk pro-American. I talk pro-Judeo-Christian. I talk pro-capitalism. I talk pro-Bill of Rights. I'm for a stronger America. I'm for a stronger military. I'm for a border wall. I'm for border languages and culture. I'm red, white, and blue through and through. And evidently, I'm for marriage as God established it. I'm for protecting the innocent and defenseless lives of these babies. So evidently, that doesn't meet YouTube's standard. Now, if you take the time to scroll through YouTube, you'll see sex. You'll see everything that is in favor of abortion. You'll see everything that is in favor of sodomy. You'll see all these things. And they don't outlaw that. So that tells you what their standard is. Their standard is death, destruction, and debauchery, because you'll see all these rappers on here saying some of the most horrible things, some of the most destructive things, some of the most deadly things coming off of their tongues. And you see a lot of garbage on YouTube, but evidently that meets their standard. But a guy like me that's pro-American, pro-Judeo-Christian, pro-capitalism, pro-Constitution, pro-Bill of Rights, I don't meet their standards. So somehow in this screwed up, mixed up world, what's good is bad and what's bad is good, in particular in YouTube's world. So they kick a guy like me off. And then they let you back on and they watch you like a hawk. And if you say anything, they're on you. They're on you. They're on you. Illegals are an investment. I repeat, illegals, along with people that are allowed to immigrate here, are an investment. And the people that are primarily responsible for these illegals coming, we know, it's the left, the Democrats. And they are getting a return on their investment because these people go on to vote Democrat. And that allows the Democrat Party to grow in power and in strength, in particular as it relates to the first Tuesday in November. And that gives them the ability to further push their agenda forward. So that is the return on their investment. And that's why they're so eager to allow these people in. How's it that Hunter Biden is not in prison? How's it that it's taken so long for Hunter Biden and his case to get any attention? And I'm not just talking about his illegal activity, his financial activity that has taken place since his father has been vice president. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that he has trafficked women. Anytime you're purchasing women for sex and you transport them over the state line, isn't that just a more egregious form of trafficking in women? Why is he free? Why is it taking so long to get justice and to get this man incarcerated, if he's going to ever be incarcerated for all that he's done? I would say that him and his father are treasonous for what they've done. And it goes on beyond that. It goes on beyond that. Listen, Biden came into office and he orchestrated the largest child abuse, child sex trafficking, adult sex trafficking, drug distribution ring ever. And anybody with half a mind, and particularly anybody in his administration with half a mind, knew that the end result of him opening that border and allowing 10 million people in would lead to the largest drug trafficking and sex trafficking ring ever. They knew that it would lead to the largest influx of terrorists into America ever. They knew that it would lead to so many things that were absolutely destructive to America, yet and still they supported that. How is it that Joseph Robinette Biden, a mental midget, was able to mastermind the largest invasion in American history where 10 million combatants, their combatants, were able to flood across our borders and set up shop? And throughout the process, the cartels have been able to facilitate sex trafficking and continued and heightened drug distribution, and it's increased pedophilia because of the sex trafficking, and it's out and out genocide for many Americans, in particular urban core Black Americans, because that's where all these 10 million people are going to and competing with them for limited resources. That's genocide. That's also gentrification. You don't think it's not gentrification when these Democrats open up the doors of the southern border to 10 million illegals, knowing that they're coming into these Black communities, gentrifying and overwhelming these Black communities? It's no less gentrification. Because, and I'm using you all's term, because I think gentrification, in its original form, is a good thing, and I've explained that. I won't go into it. But this gentrification that's taking place right now, this is bad because, listen, you white liberals, you love to stand around and get Blacks all up and emotionally aroused by talking about gentrification, when you're the people that are doing all the gentrification in America. And Black people are none the wiser. And then they get all upset, start talking about gentrification. Listen, let me explain something to you. If you white liberals want to sit around and talk about gentrification and how it's hurting the Black community, and that gentrification that you're speaking of is being done because of how, according to you, all of these white people are moving into the urban core and taking over and causing property values to increase and causing rents to increase and causing the mortgage rates to increase in those areas as that property value goes up. Listen, how's it not gentrification when you same white liberals allowing 10 million illegals and they come into the Black community? You're gentrifying that Black community with all these illegals that you're allowing to come there and take over and compete with them for limited resources. And you Negroes are sitting around and you're none the wiser, and you would have never thought of this if I didn't tell you, because you preoccupied with bullshit. And you little dumb Black kids that run off to the universities and these white liberal professors talk to you about gentrification, and you come home after one semester talking about some, oh yeah, that's gentrification. You pointing out all this gentrification, but you didn't point out that it was gentrification and genocide that these same leftist liberal white liberals who are supporting the Biden administration and every other liberal administration, supporting them in the opening of the border. You people are stupid. That's why I look at you with such disdain and lack of respect. Because when I walk on these college campuses and I look at you Black kids, it's unfortunate, but I know that about 99% of y'all are just that damn stupid. And you're not coming there to be educated, you're coming there to be indoctrinated. And then we see you get indoctrinated and we see them push you back out here into the real world. And what do? You fall right in line and you start helping with all this dystopian takeover that we currently see here in America. You want to get out here and you want to protest and you want to sing "We Shall Overcome" and you want to get out here and fly the Palestinian flag and you want to support Hamas and Hezbollah. You stupid. And I'm telling you, Black Democrats, you Black Democrat voters, white liberals have outsmarted you from the rooter to the tutor. They played you Negroes like some fools because they got you murdering your babies. They got you marrying men and men and women in your churches. They got you hating on America. And America has done nothing but give you the best lifestyle imaginable on the planet. Don't you talk to me about slavery and Jim Crow, because none of you Negroes ever experienced it. Shut your damn mouth. You don't have a damn idea what it feels like to be a slave. You don't have a damn idea to know what it feels like to be live under Jim Crow and black codes. You don't know shit. You little stupid monkeys getting all aroused and running around these college campuses talking about we want our separate but equal graduation. You're dumb. And once again, and I always got to say it, and listen here, YouTube. I'm not saying monkey and using it in a derogatory racial way. Y'all may think that because you may think these Negroes are monkeys. I'm saying monkey because you don't use your mind. I'm saying monkey because you think on a primate level, because you think on a primate level because you only use that much of your mind. You think on a primate level because it's monkey see, monkey do. Whatever these professors telling you, that's what you do. That's all you see, and that's what you do. That's why I'm calling you a monkey. And you come home after the first semester thinking you know something, talking about shit like gentrification, diversity, equity, inclusion, and all that old bullshit. All you did was go to school and come back dumber than what you were when you first arrived there. And your mamas and daddies talking about, oh, we're so proud of you. You make me proud. Because they're just as dumb as you. Because they subscribe to the same stupidity that you subscribe to. Their liberal leftist professor is CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, and NBC. That's who they sit under and learn from. And then you take your black ass to the university and you sit under your liberal leftist professor. And then you go home on Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving just passed, and y'all sit around the table telling y'all stories of racism and victimhood. And ain't none of y'all been through shit. You see, I talk about everybody. I put it out there. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care about your race. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your origins. I don't care about none of that. And any of you Republican conservatives that may watch this, and you know, I am Mr. Republican conservative. Frederick Douglass, Republican conservative. Let me say this real quick. Y'all ain't no better because you're not going to disseminate this information, this consequential information. You're not going to say the things that you would never say, but you would love to hear somebody say, not even when you can say it by simply hitting a button and disseminating the message. They got a name for that. It's called a coward. When you scared to sit at home and hit a button and disseminate the antidote to this disease, this virus that inflicts our country, because you're worried about what somebody's going to say or think about you. Y'all need to go watch some World War II movies and see what heroes really look like. And then maybe you'll get up and you'll do something other than cower in the corner and be so afraid of what somebody's going to say to you or about you. I'm going to hit you with this one last piece of consequential information. And I created this in order to help you wrap your head around what's happening and to be able to articulate to others what's happening. The concept of the devil's triangle. I created it to help you to be able to articulate to your children and people that you love what's going on. The devil's triangle. There's three sides to that triangle, obviously. And that triangle is what is being used to destroy us. In the center of the triangle, I write the word 3D culture, which is another thing that I came up with, and that stands for death, destruction, and debauchery. Hence the 3Ds, 3D culture. That's in the center of the triangle. Now, on one of the sides of the triangle, it says homosexuality and false climate science. Those two things are one side of the triangle, and they're being used to destroy us. On the other side is abortion, child sacrifice, Tamolic. That's being used to destroy us. And at the bottom, anti-Judeo-Christian agenda. That's the third and final side part of the triangle, and that's being used to destroy us. Anti-Judeo-Christian agenda. There is the devil's triangle, ladies and gentlemen. And that, and I can show you, I don't care what it is that the left is saying and doing, I can show you that everything fits right there into that triangle. And those are the things that they're doing. So all of the dystopian, evil things that they're doing fits somewhere within that triangle. And I created that so that you can wrap your heads around this and have a way to articulate to other people so that they can then understand. Then they, well, let me just show you how America has changed real quick, and then I've got to get out of here. 61%. And this is when I talked about the nation can't come together, and we can't come together. And anytime a politician tells you that they can bring the nation together or that they desire to bring the nation together, they know that they're full of shit. They know that they are full of shit the moment that begins to roll off of their tongue. And here's why we can't come together. And this is why they're full of shit, because they know this. We can't come together because you can't have this part of the nation and then this part of the nation. And this part of the nation is absolutely about saving life, preserving life, and this part of the nation is about the destruction of life. This part of the nation is about marriage as God designed it. This part of the nation is about marriages, Satan designed it. And there's other things that go on this side and that side. I won't go through all of them. So that's why the nation can come together. And when a politician would lead you to believe that that's what they're attempting to do or what they can do, they're full of shit. Now, I tell you what can happen. What can happen is that we can go out here and we can reach the hearts and minds of these so-called evangelicals and Christians. There's 30 million of them that's sitting on the sideline doing nothing, saying nothing, and not voting and allowing things like issue 1 in Ohio to pass. There's a way to go out here and get them off of the sideline so that we can begin to protect life, so that we can begin to make America again. But we can't great again. You can't make America great again if 30 million Christians are sitting on the sideline not voting. How can that happen? That can't happen. It doesn't even make sense numerically. But what does make sense numerically is if you go and you look at all of the elections that have taken place and you factor in the 30 million Christians, evangelicals, God-fearing individuals that currently aren't voting, and you factor them into the equation as voters, well, we win every time. But Clay and Buck and the rest of these so-called conservative pundits would, it's about the independents. Republicans don't win elections. That's what they say. Democrats don't win elections. Independents do. No, evangelicals and Christians do. And the minute they get up off the damn couch, get up off the sideline and start voting, we can show you. We can prove it to you. But rather than, as Republicans and conservatives, go out here and seek out this evangelical, this Christian vote, y'all rather run out here and get the independent vote. Now, what is the independent vote? This is why the Republican Party is being destroyed rapidly. This is why conservatives and conservatism is being destroyed rapidly because y'all don't want to go out here and get these Christians off the sideline and have them vote. Y'all rather go out here and get the so-called independent vote. But when you look at the so-called independent voter, 9 times out of 10, they vote Democrat. So all you're doing is going and chasing after a Democrat vote. And the only time you can get them to come out and vote for you as a conservative or as a Republican, as I've said before, is when the left has gone so damn far to the left to where they can't even stand it no more. And their reaction is to run out and vote Republican for one term. And after that Republican comes in and he spends one term, what do those so-called independent voters who are actually Democrat voters do? They run right back out and run to their roots and start voting Democrat again. You have never, ever in your political life heard or had one pundit anywhere in the United States of America break that down and define that as I just did. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what's happening in this country right now. You do not understand electoral politics and elections and how people vote if you don't understand that. And I'm the only person that has ever articulated that because I more than understand it. I understand what's happening. And you still ain't disseminating this. Because y'all want to reside in the dark. I should just turn my back and go out to the wilderness like Grizzly Adams and just live out in the wild and leave this shit to be. Because you people don't give a damn. You don't care. Because all y'all want to do is capitulate, cave, and give in to all this stuff. You just want to go along to get on. You don't go along to get along. You don't want to offend nobody. You don't want to fight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, do something different than what you've been doing.